This is the Codcast. All things Whitby Town FC.
Yes, welcome to the latest edition. I'm Andrew Snaith and I'm very pleased to say from the Whitby Town media team, Liam Ryder joins me and we'll be getting his view on Saturday's opening friendly for Whitby Town after we hear from the Whitby Town manager, Lee Bullock.
We've seen a few link-ups as well. Obviously got the four lads from Boro Rangers coming, but even still the players that perhaps didn't know each other too well, nice to see them linking up early on.
Yeah, you could sort of see what they're here for, like the power on down the side, the hold-up play, winning battles in the middle. I thought defensively we weren't tested, but we were solid and compact, composed. It was just what you hope for. Obviously, new lads coming to Whitby, the wind came out to meet us, so they've now got a feeling for playing on the coast. So that's another bit of the thinking. It's going to be windy at Whitby, and they've performed well in the strong wind today as well.
Yeah, like you said earlier, though, no injuries and a good chance for everybody involved today to get a few kicks out there.
Yeah, like I said, they've trained really well, and I think Cal Hickman epitomises that with the way since he's came in, he's trained with real energy on the ball and off the ball. And I thought the first goal, brilliant delivery, a really brave header, like for pre-season to get in amongst people, and a really good goal that settles down, to be fair. And then second goal again, that stand pressing high with his power. Pre-season goal, to be fair, nicks it off a goalkeeper. That wouldn't happen in a league game, but it's because he's willing to go and run. He's got himself a goal, so that was a good first half into a strong wind.
Yeah, we saw you bring a few younger players on as well for the second half. Tommy Dowson and Jack Kilpatrick, to name a couple of them. And Kilpatrick in particular, I'm sure about doing the world of getting those two goals.
All three of them. I think Cal seemed a little nervous in the warm-up. Obviously, it's a big deal for them getting his start, and he settled right into the game and had a decent performance. The two lads came on at half-time. Obviously, Jack steals the headlines with two very well-taken goals, but he's a menace, Jack, and he looks like a player. Tommy came in the middle and he gets stuck in straight away. He reminds me of many years ago. I always remember Steve Snaith when he came as a young lad. He gets around the pitch, he gets stuck in. He's not bothered about tackling who he upsets. So them three, I said it to Paul earlier in the week, they want to come and take shirts off senior lads, if you like, and that's the way they're doing it, by putting performances like that.
Yeah, and I guess as well, we're seeing train a lot. Denny in particular, sometimes, very vocal towards them, but like you said, that's solid because, you really want them to feel them.
Yeah, I said to him after training the other night, if Denny stops whinging at you, shouting and screaming at you, you've got a problem, he'll give up on you. If he's shouting and screaming at you, he likes you, he knows you're a good player, and he's just getting more out of you. And they're a decent group, and they're an honest group, and they're everything at the minute they're getting on with. We'll train again Tuesday. We've just told them there they'll half an hour hard running at the start, and then we'll have an hour of football. Then we'll be ready for Bridge Friday night.
Yeah, just looking at that game at Bridlington, obviously going to be a bit of a step up into the opposition, a team that Denny in particular know very well. So I'm sure he's forward to having a real good test out there.
Yeah, no disrespect to Marske, but there's levels in football. There are a couple below us, Brid are one below us, so it will be a tougher opposition. We'll probably change it, lads. Start the game on the bench tonight, they'll start, and that's the way we're going to have to do it at the minute. It'll just be a similar mirror image of today, but with lads in different positions, so they're all getting equal minutes.
This is the Codcast.
That's Lee Bullock speaking to Liam after Saturday's 5-0 victory at Marske United. It's a tough one really to gauge, I think, Liam, how good the performance was. Obviously, Marske were not at their best at the weekend, but was there anybody in particular that stood out for you?
Yeah, I think there were plenty of reasons to be positive. I know Lee Bullock referenced it in his interview, saying it was pretty much everything he wanted from that first pre-season game, in terms of the intensity, getting a win regardless of the opposition, just getting that sort of confidence flowing. But yeah, quite a few stand out really. I mean, it's the first time we've actually sort of had a chance to look at a lot of these players in an actual match environment. But yeah, I think Callum Hickman was one that stood out. Bought in as a winger, but played very much as a number 10 on Saturday and did well there, scored a great header. But I think what I liked as well, it's quite exciting football if that's what we're going to adopt. across the league season. But a lot of this sort of interchange, especially on the left-hand side of defence between Leon Gibson-Booth, who's playing left centre-half, and Stan Hewitt, were sort of swapping and changing very high at the pitch, and Charlie Sterling as well. He sort of sat a bit deeper, but he played some really good balls throughout the match, pinpoints. So it looks like he's very much a ball-playing defender. And I think as well, shout out to James Dillon, another new signing, literally just the day before. But yeah, I thought he did very well as well. So plenty of positive performances out there. Like you say, it's hard to sort of gauge what, who played well, who didn't, but they certainly look good, those particular individuals. I haven't really sort of seen much of the goalkeepers. Jack Norton barely tested, I think, if at all. The trialist goalkeeper had just a very routine save to make at the end of the match. But yeah, I think, as things go, I was almost sort of reserve judgment a bit more maybe for the, no disrespect to Mass, but sort of the tougher test that we're going to have across pre-season. But certainly a very positive start out there. Lots of positives to take from it, and hopefully we can really sort of start building some momentum this pre-season.
Absolutely. And let's speak to one of those newcomers from Boro Rangers, Ben Turner, who caught up with Liam before Saturday's game.
Well, Ben, first of all, welcome to Whitby Town. You come up to the ground this evening to have a look around. What are your first impressions of the place?
Yeah, no, it's really good. I've obviously only ever been here on night games, so it's nice to actually see it in the light. The pitch is looking fantastic, so yeah, it's excited to get going.
Yeah, and obviously a bit of a unfortunate circumstance to what's gone on at Boro Rangers, but the chance to come to Whitby. What sort of feel? What made you sort of think this is the right club for you?
Yeah, obviously I know the other lads. Obviously the other three signings who've came in have definitely helped, and obviously after the chat with Bully and him showing that how much he wanted me. Made me it was a bit of a no-brainer. Once I knew that Boro Rangers was no more, and sort of this opportunity came up, it was like, yeah, I think it's time to sort of step up, make that step up. Obviously, a couple of leagues higher. Obviously, I thank Boro Rangers for many years, gone through a lot together and stuff. But I think that'll help us sort of together at Whitby, and the three lads that are with us, and I think we'll add that winning desire as well.
Yeah, and mention there about what's gone on with Boro Rangers. Was it sort of a move ever on the cards before that, or has it kind of just come out the last week or so?
Yeah, not necessarily on the cards. It was more. There was obviously a little bit of interest, which is at the end of every season. But without sounding sort of nothing to Whitby, I never thought this move would come myself. And obviously, I see myself at Boro Rangers till sort of I stopped playing, and that was just through we'd been there so long and we'd gone through a lot together. But obviously, once this opportunity came up, it was a no-brainer. And Bully showed a lot of interest and sort of plugged the club in the right way, and like it seems like the right fitting move. Because we've done Northern League now, similar faces each week you play again, so it's time to sort of step up to the next level. And obviously I'm 33 now, so probably a good move now, before sort of slowing down and going the other way.
Yeah, you mentioned about sort of your time at Boro Rangers, and a few of the other lads sort of said similar. So very much for yourself, it's been pretty much that's all you've sort of known your football career. Yeah,
pretty much. I've done the odd little stint at other clubs around and stuff, but nothing major, and more lower league. But it was more Boro Rangers and going through the Teesside League up to obviously making that step up into the Northern League with them. We always done well against clubs in the hierarchy in the pyramid, say like your Stockton Towns and Whitby's, Scarborough's and stuff in pre-season in cup games and things. So it'd be nice to be playing against these like regularly each week.
Yeah, and in terms of your experience in the Northern League, obviously coming up through the league before that, but become a really competitive side in that division. Do you feel that sort of really shaped you and developed you as a player the last couple of years? Yeah,
definitely. It's sort of, I think from the Teesside League we were playing with a good group of mates at a good level, but it was never really a test, if I'm being honest. You knew most weeks you were getting the win, whereas as we started to progress and each season started to progress, you knew that the level got higher, and that helped you as a player because the league and the pace of the games got quicker. You were playing against some good players who probably shouldn't have even been in that league. They should be playing in sort of the like Whitby's league now, but they just obviously for whatever reason they chose to drop down into the Northern League. They did, but it sort of did set you up, and I'd say the top division like Northern League 1 is sort of really competitive, and there's some like really strong like teams in there as well, so it definitely set us up like well.
Yeah, just looking at yourself as a player, how would you sort of best describe the way you like to play out there?
Yeah. I'll give it all. I'll always give 110%, which is obviously what Bully had spoke to me about in the first meeting and chat I had with him. He's been to watch me a couple of times. I played against his team when he was at Redcar as assistant, and he just said he loved that never like say die attitude, give 110%. I like to get the ball down and play. I can play in sort of a numerous positions in the midfield. If you need me in a 10, a 4, an 8, I don't mind. I don't have a preference, let's say, but I can definitely add sort of that desire, never give in attitude, and try and push each other, like the other players on and stuff. So, yeah. Yeah,
and I know it's obviously early stages, but has Bully sort of said anything to being one of the more experienced players in the squad now in terms of your role for this season?
Yeah. So we've had again just brief chats and things, and I think we'll have some more as the pre-season progresses and as the season progresses. But he's brought, especially us four, we're obviously come from a really tight knit group. Players didn't often move on, so we're coming in from that now to obviously bring that sort of leadership in and that sort of because. Especially at Boro Rangers, we obviously lost games, but we weren't used to losing a lot because we gave a lot, and it'll sort of be a test for us to push each other on. And I think we've got like a young squad. Just seen in pre-season so far, with lads who are some very very good players, but probably just need that little bit of a more mature head. The levels and obviously in the game they may have played higher, but it's just that sort of maturity and stuff and them little positions on the pitch that can help you.
Yeah, and in terms of coming back to a home game, I know you played a couple of times, probably against Fishburn Park, I imagine the North Riding Cup, particularly here at the Torback Express Stadium. But I'm sure you're now looking forward to that first league game, especially getting out in front of the Whitby fans. Yeah,
definitely. I think it's sort of we talk about it in the group chat, just that fire in the belly's back a little bit, and sort of it's a nice to have because obviously, like I mentioned, a little bit older now, a bit more experience, and obviously you still play, but it's nice to have that new sort of desire to obviously prove, and I think that's for me as well. I think just to prove to myself that I can play at this level. I think the ability will be there and stuff. It's just obviously a new whole experience for me, so it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. And obviously we used to playing in front of a couple of hundred. I imagine it'll be a lot bigger here, and especially some of the grounds we'll go to as well. It's like really exciting opportunity.
Yeah, and then just finally, pre-season about to get underway. That trip to Marske, of course. We've called a Friday night, Saturday. That'll be a real chance now to sort of get to know the lads, I guess, for you, because you haven't really had a training session, have you yet?
Yeah. I've done a couple of like fitness sessions on the Tuesday, just due to work commitments. Till July, I'm away on a Thursday, so I haven't met everybody yet. Met a good chunk of them, obviously a few of the lads who I already know as well. But it'd be good to, I think, just getting on that pitch is a whole different level to training, isn't it? And getting the minutes into your legs, and knowing what works and how obviously Bully and Denny want us to play.
This is the Codcast.
That's Ben Turner, one of the new signings from Boro Rangers. We'll speak to three of his new Whitby Town teammates and former Boro Rangers teammates shortly. And so Liam, also we saw an opportunity, and this is something Lee Bullock mentioned as well. There will be opportunities for young players from Whitby Town, likes of Callum Wilson, who started on the right wing back, and also we saw Tommy Dowson in midfield, and also Jack Kilpatrick scoring twice. Great moment for him as a Whitby lad, netting his first goals for the Blues.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, he was played quite high up, really, pretty much in the attack when he was introduced at half-time. But, yeah, I mean, the first one, very simple finish, but you've got to get yourself in the right position in the first instance, which he did very well. A tap in ultimately at the end, and then his second goal, a very composed finish, 1-on-1. It's also where he completely did one of the mass defenders, which he was very keen to point out to me and asked me to find that from the VO footage after that. But yeah, certainly very confident display out there. Same with Tommy Dowson, he was very steady. I think for me though, sort of the big one is Callum Wilson, because if you look at the squad so far, there's not many sort of right backs in there, if any at all, really. Players that maybe can sort of adapt and play there, but I think he's got a real chance to make that position his own if he has a really good pre-season. Which will just be Ward, because he's been very patient in his time with the club over the last few years. So that's certainly a chance for him. But all three young lads, we're saying it's a very young squad on the whole, but those three in particular, they've got plenty that can be really proud of there, and I'm sure we'll see them start a couple of games as well throughout pre-season, play some different positions perhaps. But, just to see them involved, whether it's a friendly or a competitive match, just to have them involved in some capacity. It's great for their development just to get them in around that first team environment and ultimately sort of have that backing from Lee Bullock.
That's right, and also talk of a real team spirit, a togetherness, a little bit more vocalness as well, which is sometimes something that's been lacking historically from a Whitby side. Liam, was that your view?
Yeah, you could see there was, there were players talking to each other, and these are players, a lot of them probably don't know each other either, about the Boro Rangers lads. So yeah, you could definitely see that, that sort of communication element, because, you'll have heard me and Paul reference it many times on commentary over the last few seasons, that the only sort of shouts of man on were coming from Kev Hope in the main stand, which isn't really what we want. We need to see that talking on the pitch. So yeah, that's a good start. Again, it's pre-season. But making sure that sort of carries forward. And I'm sure Lee Bullock's, very keen to drill it into the players that communication's key. It's a very hungry group, but making sure you talk is some of that sort of next cog in making sure you can be a successful team.
That's right. And let's hear from some more of those signings from Boro Rangers. Speaking to Liam, here's James Dillon, Cal Hickman and Stu Rose.
So first of all, really, just sort of describe yourself to a fan of Whitby Town. What each of your style of play like?
I'd say, obviously, I'm centre forward, so majority of my goals are coming from me holding the ball up and spinning a defender. That's where I get a lot of goals and a lot of joy from. Obviously, wingers like Callum, when we're whipping the ball in, I try to get on the end of them and just, poaching maybe more than anything.
Yeah, I'm a winger, very direct, pacey, love getting on the ball, getting them up man, and and work at both ends, get back out defensively as well, and like I said, work well with Stu up there, Stu at the last team we were at. And, set up a lot of goals, got a lot of goals with them.
Centre half, sharp, aggressive. I like to carry the ball forward. I like to play out from the back.
Yeah, and then how would you sort of describe the other teammates you got from Boro Rangers? How do they sort of complement your play?
Yeah, well, obviously, Sidders and Cal, and there's Ben who's not here. We've all played together for a number of years now, so we kind of all get each other on the same wavelength. It all seems to click, so hopefully we can bring that from Boro Rangers and bring it into Whitby Town.
Yeah, like Stu said, we've all got like a nice little click between us. We've worked well for the last 6-7 years of being in Boro Rangers. Created a lot of teams, played against big clubs like Whitby, beat them in North Riding, played against Scarborough, competed with them. The other teams we've all played well together. So yeah.
Yeah, obviously, when I like to carry the ball forward, I've always either got Cal to me, or Stu up front, I've got Ben Turner. So we've always had that link.
So what would you say sort of your personal goals are? Obviously stepping up a couple of levels, but do you feel confident that your ability from the Northern League will adapt to the Northern Premier League as well?
I think so. Obviously, I relish challenges like this. I love playing against bigger teams. Obviously, like Cal, I know what he said regarding playing against Whitby Town and Scarborough, and I've stood against teams like that as well. So, yeah, it'll be tough. Relishing it. Can't wait to get started and push on.
Yeah, so I think I'll adapt well at this level. I think I want to improve my tactical awareness. Hopefully, I'll benefit technically, tactically. I think with Boro Rangers, we've been there a lot of years. It's been like a big family. I've never went into league and test myself quite, but I think I'm finally ready for the step, and it's a good time to come. It's unfortunate what's happened with Boro Rangers, but yeah, I think I'm finally ready for the next level.
Yes, you've already sort of alluded to, playing against bigger teams before. Obviously, now you're in Whitby's league, a few sort of big boys, I guess, the likes of Bury and FC United, the sort of games you're looking forward to.
Bury is a big one. I mean, they get so many fans. I mean, I think they're averaging around 5,000 or 6,000 fans or something like that in one game. So, I mean, to go from our leagues that we've been playing in a few hundreds, to thousands, stuff like that. But I mean, that's just part of the game, isn't it? And obviously, when you come up to these type of levels, that's when you're going to come up against, and sometimes you're going to block it out and just do your thing on the pitch.
I say, yeah, I thrive. I can't wait to play in front of like I say, I've gone from playing against him 50 to 200, and now it's obviously going to be a big difference. We've been playing against thousands sometimes. So yeah, I just can't wait to have a go, see what it's all like. Some good ground scope as well.
Yeah, massive difference to what we used to. Really looking forward to it. Obviously, we've played in a few playoff semi-finals with good crowds, but nothing like those. So it'll be a good atmosphere. So I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and then just finally, I'm sure a couple of probably played at the Turnmill Ground before, Whitby play, of course. But now playing as a Whitby player, I'm sure you're sort of looking forward to that atmosphere there.
Yeah, absolutely. Relish it. The Whitby fans have always had a great following, and yeah, I can't wait to try and get my first goal there, and and then go from there. That'll be that's my aim, and yeah, I'm buzzing. I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I'm saying I can't wait to start playing in front of them, score some goals for them, make them happy. Yeah, get them back up right where the league. So I know they've struggled the last couple of seasons, haven't they? And obviously they lost a lot of players this year, and it's like full rebuild. Yeah, hopefully we get going this year and have a good season.
Yeah, I've managed to play there a few times. It's always a bit of an intimidating ground, I think, when it's full. So we look forward to being on the other side this time. So yeah.
The Codcast, all things Whitby Town FC.
That was three of our signings from Boro Rangers there. Speaking to Liam, and on their signings in the past week, that's Cal Hickman, who of course opened the scoring with an emphatic header. Also the big centre-half James Dillon, and the hotshot Stu Rose there. I mean, Rose in particular, I think is probably the one that people will be most likely to be familiar with, Liam. Scored a number of goals in the Northern League.
Yeah, he did. I think really very sought after signing. I know Lee Bullock's referenced it, that he kind of feels that, Stuart Rose is a player that a lot of the teams, whether it's MPL East, MPL, Premier Division, around this area, we're probably looking at really. So we've done well to get him. He didn't really have sort of chance to get too involved, surprisingly, in a 5-0 win on Saturday. But to get a player that's got his goal scoring record, albeit a couple of leagues down, there's no reason why he can't do well in the MPL Premier Division. He's got all the right attributes. He's got a bit of physicality, a bit of pace, a very good finisher. It's sort of unfortunate, I suppose, for Boro Rangers, the fact that how the situation's come down, but their misfortunes, our fortune with this were really because the four players that have come in, arguably Boro Rangers' sort of best four players. They've all become available because of their unfortunate situation. We simply couldn't sign them before that, and they're all in contract there. So, yeah, it's worked in our favour. But I think, this is what Bully mentioned quite a while back at a supporters meeting, was just about, we're going to try and maybe have to look at sort of the best talent from the Northern League. And I guess as well, Boro Rangers are a team that were very much on the rise, had risen up from sort of the lower leagues, and these players had been in amongst that as well. But I think going off what people have said, they were very much a proper team and had that right sort of attitude. So if they can carry that forward to Whitby, then hopefully that can benefit us, and we can maybe perhaps be sort of the team that maybe overachieve. Because I know outside you sort of people writing us off because of the players we've lost and signed, but it sometimes togetherness is a bit better than having all the quality out there. If if you're not the same wavelength, which arguably in the last couple of seasons where we've maybe had a better sort of technical squad, it can work against you. But so far the signs are really positive in terms of the way that everyone's cracking on and talking to each other. I think really, there's plenty of reasons to be optimistic, but obviously a long way to go in pre-season, and hopefully we'll sort of see a bit more of a settled side develop. But it is very much a tight-knit group. It's a small squad. So I'm sure that everyone will sort of have that same attitude and that same feeling.
And how did we do with the wing-back formation, Liam? I mean, again, it was a very one-sided game, but did people seem to slot in okay with that?
Yeah, it felt like it. I know Stan Hewitt in particular is very much a wing-back rather than sort of an out-and-out left-back. I mentioned earlier about sort of the changeover with Leon Gibson-Boo, particularly at left-hand side, and at times Charlie Sterland getting forward on the right-hand side. It was almost sort of, reminiscent of Chris Wilder's Sheffield United team that got promoted back in 2019 or whatever it was, with the sort of overlapping centre halves. It's a risky system, but it's a very exciting system, I think, for supporters as well. And you sort of cast your mind back to Chris Hardy's first full season in charge, where we had Callum Martin and Dan McWilliams as those out-and-out wing-backs.
Yeah.
That was some of the best football we'd seen in a long time at Whitby Town, and hopefully we can have similar success. I think really it comes down to the type of players you've got if you're going to play this wing-back system. I know it's backfired a few times. We've tried to play it since 2016-17, but that's probably the wrong personnel in there. But certainly reasons that it can develop, and I think if we get that balance right between defence and attack, we can be an exciting team to watch, but equally a very organised team. And again, I know I won't test too much at Marske, but we could see those players there, sort of on those transitions, being prepared, putting tackles in nice and early just to stop, any sort of quick breaks, and the midfield also joining in with that as well.
We had the AGM on Friday night, Liam. Of course, plenty going on behind the scenes as well.
Yeah, certainly are. The minutes of that will be going out imminently. But yeah, just sort of an overview. It was a very positive meeting. They're looking back at obviously the last season, which has had its struggles naturally. But we've sort of heard from some key speakers there. The secretary, Paul Walker, Ivor Homer, Craig Moff, unfortunately wasn't there, but we've still got a presentation of the accounts from last year. Lee Bullock also in attendance, sort of going through how happy he is with the squad is getting together, the backing from the board in terms of backing him to make sure that he's got a very competitive squad for this season, that ultimately can do well in the league. Lots of other things as well are covered. Including the club membership, which has been updated, an update on the youth structure, which again you'll be able to find a bit more information once the minutes go out on that, about what's going on with there. But plenty of positives to take from that meeting. You sort of go into a bit of fear with these AGMs sometimes that there may be a few pear-shaped conversations, shall we say. But I think really it felt very much that from the outside, the club members and those non-members that just wanted to attend the meeting, they can sort of see that things are hopefully changing at the club, and very much going now with a positive mindset and sort of believing in what the board and committee are doing to try and really take this club forwards now.
And I understand there's an employment position advertised at Turnbull's Bar.
Yes, so we've got Michelle Hamlet who's taken over as bar manager. It's had a real positive start. Open night fell well with the England against Ghana game. So a good few numbers in there for that. But yeah, basically just looking for some casual bar staff. Just to sort of reiterate, it's not a full-time position we're offering, or full-time positions, should I say. There'll be several roles available there, but it's kind of just sort of, those who are looking for a bit of extra cash, a bit of extra work, just to help out, mainly sort of on event days. So we've got match days, of course, the main ones, events like Gala Day, if there's any sort of parties that get booked in the bar, which details have been announced on that shortly about how members and non-members can get involved with booking out Turnbull's Bar for those parties, funerals, christenings, that sort of thing. But yeah, just if anyone wants to get involved, it's just drop a quick email to Paul Walker, that's secretary at whitbytownfc.com. And yeah, basically just invite you for a sort of an informal chat just to see what sort of your expectations are, and what we can offer you as a club.
And finally, a trip to Bridlington Town this Friday, and I think probably a little bit more of an acid test to see where we're at.
Yeah, I think it should be a decent test, and maybe one that's needed. Be a few players that'll know Bridlington Town well. Of course, Stan Hewitt coming directly from Brid to Whitby Town for that one. But I'm looking forward to it. First time I've actually been there, to Bridlington Town's ground, which is surprising considering it's not too far away for us. Looking forward to sort of seeing the setup there. But yeah, I think it'll certainly be a step up in opposition. Again, no disrespect to Marske on that front. But it should be a good test for us, a bit closer to what we'll expect in the league this season. But yes, a good sort of test under the lights there. These are the sort of things you've got to look at, ramping up the opposition and also getting, an equal sort of variety in terms of the teams you face. Equally the lower league teams, like the Northern League sides, they're good to face, prepping for sort of like the FA Cup games. if you get drawn against those sort of level sides. So, yeah, that should be a good one at Bridden. I think most important, really, just a chance again to get another 90 minutes in the tank for all the players, and hopefully have a bit of a defensive test, which maybe they didn't get last Saturday.
Indeed, on air from around 7:30, maybe just before, on This Is the Coast Extra with Liam and Paul Connolly there as well. Make sure you tune in if you can't make the trip down the coast yourself. Thank you to Liam and all our guests, all our new signings from Boro Rangers, and of course the Whitby Town manager Lee Bullock. We'll be back next week as we look ahead to a busier week, a couple of games in there and possibly some fixture news. We can't be far away from the NPL fixtures, Liam, I think next week.
Your guess is as good as mine. Yeah, we will find out in due course. I'm expecting the next week or two, though. Hopefully it'll be nice to get out there, planning in terms of who we've got at home early on, and ultimately those away trips, because they take quite a bit of planning, work with West Valley on that. So, yes, hopefully sooner rather than later. But for those asking, we don't have a definitive date. So please stop badgering us.
And on that note, it's bye from Liam and bye from me.